There is an old Russian fable, with different versions in other countries, about two poor peasants, Ivan and Boris. The only difference between them was that Boris had a goat and Ivan didn't. One day, Ivan came upon a strange-looking lamp, and, when he rubbed it, a genie appeared. She told him that she could grant him just one wish, but it could be anything in the world. Ivan said, "I want Boris's goat to die." Variations on this story in other countries suggest that this tells us something about human beings, not just Russians. It may tell us something painful about many Americans today, when so many people are preoccupied with the pay of corporate CEOs. It is not that the corporate CEO's pay affects them so much. If every oil company executive in America agreed to work for nothing, that would not be enough to lower the price of a gallon of gasoline by a dime. If every General Motors executive agreed to work for nothing, that would not lower the price of a Cadillac or a Chevrolet by 1%. Too many people are like Ivan, who wanted Boris's goat to die. It is not even that the average corporate CEO makes as much money as any number of professional athletes and entertainers. The average pay of a CEO of a corporation big enough to be included in the Standard & Poor's Index is less than 1/3 of what Alex Rodriguez makes, about 1/10 of what Tiger Woods makes, and less than 1/30 of what Oprah Winfrey makes. But when has anyone ever accused athletes or entertainers of greed? It is not the general public that singles out corporate CEOs for so much attention. Politicians and the media have focused on business leaders, and the public has been led along like sheep. The logic is simple. Demonize those whose place or power you plan to usurp. Politicians who want the power to micromanage business and the economy know that demonizing those who currently run businesses is the opening salvo in the battle to take over their roles. There is no way that politicians can take over the roles of Alex Rodriguez, Tiger Woods, or Oprah Winfrey, so they can make any amount of money they want, and it doesn't matter politically. Those who want more power have known for centuries that giving the people somebody to hate and fear is the key.
We all know that having a society that's hyper-focused on fear and hyper-focused on hating thy neighbor is the easiest way to control a society. And he's right. Most people who bitch and complain about billionaires and millionaires, they want to be billionaires and millionaires themselves. Who screams about socialism more than anyone else? It's the rich, oddly enough. And when you do see the normie person scream about socialism and how much they hate capitalism, when they become millionaires, they don't seem to give all their money away, which is odd. You see what's that one girl who's like a Twitch streamer, and she was like the socialist of Twitch, and now she's a millionaire. She doesn't seem to be just throwing her money out into the community. Even Russell Brand, I love him to death, but he loves to scream about how people should, first thing they should think about is the community and give back to the community, but he is still a multi-millionaire living very, very comfortably so. Most people, they don't want to take down the power full. They don't want to bring down the hierarchy. They want to be powerful. They want to be on top of the food chain. They don't want everyone to be equal. That's not what it is. And even if they really truly believe that, once they have that power and once they have that money and they know what it feels like, they're not going to give it up. And he's right. Politicians know that. They can scream like every fucking election. What do Democrats scream about? Taxes. The rich are too much money. The rich aren't paying enough for their taxes. Why, the politicians are the fucking rich. They're the ones that aren't paying their taxes. They're like senators and congressmen walking away with millions of dollars in their pocket when their salary is like 200 and something thousand a year. And even Bernie Sanders used to go on and on about the millionaires and the billionaires. But now Bernie Sanders is a millionaire. So now he only talks about the billionaires and the trillionaires until he becomes a billionaire, and then it's just the trillionaires and the zillionaires. I actually have a little bit of a story time. I was in Udaipur, India, and I was talking to this guy, and I think he's one of these arrogant, like, I'm gonna burn down the system and I'm an anarchist and fuck the man, but they're like really, really snotty-nosed, just privileged assholes at the end of the day. And he was going on and on about how like rich people don't give enough to the poor and rich people don't do enough for people, which honestly the biggest donors of any charity and the biggest philanthropists are the rich. They're the ones who give the most to like medical research and stuff like that. But anywho, I digress. And I stopped and asked him, like, you are upset because rich people aren't giving their money away, but what are you doing? You're traveling right now. You're living abroad. You're backpacking. You're living your dream. That's not a necessity. That's not a human right. You don't need to travel into another country to have a fulfilled life or to survive or just be alive. Like, this is a privilege. This is a luxury that you're doing. The money that you have right now that you're using to travel, you can go give it to the poor Indian people who live in the slums, the street lady, the bagger lady with her kids you probably passed by 100 times without even thinking about giving her a dime. You didn't give her any money, but here you are jet setting around the world. No matter whether the country is a cheap country to travel through or not, compared to the people who are too poor to leave their communities, you are rich. And he was like flabbergasted and almost insulted that I would even say something like that. And he was like, but I'm not a millionaire and I'm not a billionaire. And I'm like, compared to the person who cannot feed their infant child, you are rich. Comparatively, you are their 1%. I don't see you pulling your money out of your pocket to pay. So you have all these self-righteous assholes who want everyone else to do something that they are themselves are not willing to do. When you go to the store and you buy your shoes and your lace front wigs and your Birkin bags and you go to the movies and buy all the little luxuries that makes your life just a little more enjoyable, you don't take that money, you don't give it to the poor, you don't give it to the homeless, and if you do, you could give more. Why won't you give more? You want the billionaires and the millionaires to give more. Comparatively, you are the homeless person's 1%. But anyway, I digress. Let's continue. I said digress more than once. Trying to sound smart.
In 18th century France, promoting hatred of the aristocracy was the key to Robespierre's acquiring more dictatorial power than the aristocracy had ever had, and using that power to create a bigger bloodbath than anything under the old regime. In the 20th century, it was both the czars and the capitalists in Russia who were made the targets of public hatred by the communists on their road to power. That power created more havoc in the lives of more people than czars and capitalists ever had combined. As in other countries and other times, today it is not just a question of which elites win out in a tug-of-war in America. It is the people at large who have the most at stake. We have just seen one of the biggest free home demonstrations of what happens in an economy when politicians tell businesses what decisions to make. For years, using the powers of the Community Reinvestment Act and other regulatory powers, along with threats of legal action if the loan approval rates varied from the population profile, politicians have pressured banks and other lending institutions into lending to people they would not lend to otherwise. Yet, when all this blows up in our faces and the economy turns down, what is the answer? To have more economic decisions made by politicians, because they choose to say that deregulation is the cause of our problems. Regardless of how much suffocating regulation may have been responsible for an economic debacle, politicians have learned that they can get away with it if they call it deregulation. No matter what happens, for politicians it is heads I win and tails you lose. If we keep listening to the politicians and their media allies, we are all going to keep losing, big time. Keeping our attention focused on CEO pay, Boris's goat, is all part of this game. We are all goats, if we fall for it.
He does it once again. That was Thomas Sowell, everybody. I like how he went, the politicians and their media allies. One hand shakes the other while the other one pays. Anyway, that's it, guys. Tell me what you think of this video, what he said, what I said in the comment section below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support this channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal and Cash App link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is visit my my brand new merch shop, links down below, and links to all of my alternative platforms, my socials, all the ways to support me, and all the ways to contact me for business is always in the links down below. I also have my other channels, my travel channel and my other channel, Speak Freely. I'm not really sure where this video is going to go, so the links are all down below. You guys have an amazing day. Bye!